Right, good evening ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our first video on the Toylander build. The Toylander is basically a baby Land Rover that's made in the UK, comes in kit form. It's relatively pricey, you're probably looking at around £1,000 for this, so with our exchange rate it's probably going to be cheaper just to buy a real Land Rover. But a hell of a lot of fun. I'll put a chair next to it just to give you an idea of the scale of the build. When I first took over this build, it had been sitting in a garage for probably close to a decade, and the bodywork had already been built, which is a blessing, because I have little patience for all this work that's required. A lot of the panels do come already pre-cut, but there's a lot of work you have to do yourself. My biggest challenge to date, first, I think we should just cover the work area, because if you do buy a Toylander build, please just be aware that you're probably going to need a bit more than just a screwdriver and a pair of pliers to put it together. I've used quite an extensive and messy range of equipment here, but I think this is one of the keys to Hearty's handyman, which is myself. The success of this business is that I do invest heavily in equipment and make sure the job is done right. And yes, in case you're wondering, I do pay attention to detail in all the work I do. As the guys that have been following this build have noticed. So basically, when I inherited it, it was a rolling chassis with the bodywork done, and the rear axle wheels done, the steering installed, and it was used for quite some time. The kids were pushing each other around, and then it was retired to the garage. So I actually dug it out the garage last year, November, December, with every intention of working on it over December holidays, and well, that didn't quite work out that way as things do. And yeah, so here we're sitting in lockdown, and it's been the perfect time to start this project and just keep body and soul together. You know, your hands are busy, keeps your mind busy, and I'm loving every second of it. A little bit about the Toylander itself. It comes in two options, a 12 volt and a 24 volt. It's got two electric motors I'll show you in here. And these electric motors come with a kit. You can get other motors, but it is advised that you get the Toylander ones, because they're specifically designed for this. And it's the motor, the gearbox, and then it's got a soft start control unit. And this control unit has come set up for the 24 volt option. So it's created a bit of a challenge with the electrical, because you've got a 24 volt system and a 12 volt system. The motors are in series on a 24 volt, and I'll show you a little bit later why that's quite important to mention. That each motor has an individual chain drive, which you can see here, and that was a bit of an epic getting those lined up and working right, but you know, we've got lockdown, we're not in a hurry here. Rather do it right and take it from there. So that's the drive. There is a couple of, I think the biggest challenge, first of all, in electrical is that you've got two systems. And there goes the little kitty cat. She's also successfully ignored me consistently for 2 weeks, but that's my cat. And so you've got this 24 volt system that's running the motors, and then you have a 12 volt system that's running the lights and the hooter and everything else. And this kit, when it comes from Toylander, is relatively basic, and I think you just switch a light on and everything comes on, all the indicators, the lights, the whole lot. It has a hooter and a forward and reverse button. So first of all, what I wanted to do, the ignition switch that came built into the control unit essentially just enabled the control unit. It didn't do a full electrical cutoff on all the systems. So what I did was first to put in a battery cutoff, a main battery cutoff switch, It has an 80 amp fuse that sits there, and this will obviously, as a parent, you can, this is designed for kids essentially. I think we have a few pictures that come with the model that shows you, gives you an idea. It's basically for the kids to play around with. So I've put in this main cut off, so as a parent you can obviously cut it off if there's any issues. And then I've put in the ignition. Now I don't like to just keep things standard like that. I like to keep it as safe as possible and as interesting as possible. So what I wanted working headlights, which is great. It comes with that, working tail lights. But I also wanted the indicators to indicate and not just switch on. And I also wanted hazard lights. So what I've done is I've had to create a separate 12-volt system. Let me move around this side, which has become relatively complex and quite intricate. And I've had to steal a flasher unit from a Land Rover and a couple of relays lying around, and a lot of cabling. I have tried to keep the cabling as best possible in harnesses, but it's not always possible, because remember, once all this is built, it has to be stripped down so you can paint it successfully. Now the problem is, with all these additional features that I wanted, obviously there was a lot more additional. There you can see I took some 4 Bantam relays even, added them in there for the hazards. It required more switches. So with the Toylander in the kit, you get a basic dashboard. That's what you do. It doesn't come with inserts. It comes with this plastic insert and the little stickers that come on to make it look cool, and a forward and reverse, and that's what you get with it. So obviously now for my additional requirements, I've had to build a little extension on the dash, and I've added some of this aluminium trim, which is, man, this is just, it's off the sidewalk. It's just turned out so much better than I really expected. So what I've also done is I've put an ignition on switch there, or light there, and one there. So when you switch your ignition on, you can see that the car is live. Another thing on these motors is that when you push the car, it's got such a gear ratio that it will create quite a lot of electrical generation when you push it. And that then goes the wrong way through this control unit, the soft start control unit, which I showed you in here. And apparently that blows the capacitors in there. So what I've done is I've built in an additional relay in here. So when your ignition is off and you push the car, it's safe. It's not going to damage the control box. So that's a little sticker that needs to come on over there. Please switch off before you push the car. So right, so the car is now live. And what I like about this setup, because you've got these 2 motors in series, is that when you put your car into forward, and yes, you have to build your own accelerator pedal, which is the fun bit coming up. Not too sure how I'm going to do that. And then when you push it, it's got a soft start and obviously a speed control. What is quite nice now, both wheels are off the ground because it's on jack stands. But should you put some pressure on one of the wheels, it transfers the power to the wheel with the less friction. So you've essentially got some kind of electrical limited slip diff, which is quite fancy. It then has, it's got your forward, it's got your reverse, and that's your benefits of having the 2 individual motors in series. So if one wheel gets stuck, power goes to the other wheel when you get out of wherever you're stuck. The tires are brand new on this, as you can see. Very good nick. Everything's in great condition for a car that's been sitting in a garage for a decade. So onto the electrical. What I really, man, I can't tell you how much I love this dashboard. It is fantastic. What I've done is I've put an indicator lever in here. which is working. And there you can see the little indicator. And the little one on the back, yes, I had to check the order of these tail lights on a Land Rover. So you've got your left and you've got your right. And you've got your hazard lights over here, which is super. I'm really chuffed with that. And yeah, this is the reason why the electrical on this has probably taken about a week to get all these systems in and working. So that's on the indicating side. And then you have your light switch here, obviously everything on a relay. And it has two little daytime running bulbs in there. Let me see if I can reach around and hold it on there. So that's all working. So it's not the greatest of headlights, but I mean, it does the job. And there you have your little tail lights. I suppose if I wanted to get fancy, I could put a brake light in there, but that's not going to happen. And let's just pop that in there. So yes, today we've completed putting in all these bulbs and putting in all the harnesses for them. And again, it's all been done in a way that when we finish the build, we can, let's switch that off. When we finish the build, we can strip it down, keep everything catalogued, we know where everything is, and then we can go and spray it. I'm thinking British Racing Green. And oh yes, and then reassemble it, because you don't want to be building stuff with a brand new spray job. It's also got a little hooter. I love this. It's fantastic. So yes, quite a bit of tidying up when it comes to the final build on the electrical, but it's all in there. So yes, for the future, what do we still need to do here? Let's just turn that off. It does have a windshield that needs to come on, get assembled, go on. It's got wing mirrors. The front suspension, we still need to just clear everything up and put some washers and axle pins in there. Rear suspension, everything is done. We need to figure out, because like I say, there's a lot of fabrication involved here. You know, you're looking at carpentry, you're looking at electrical, you're looking at auto electrical, you're looking at a lot of steel work. So it's got a brake that fits in there, and I'm yet to figure out how all of that works, but I'll get there. And there's quite a bit of manufacturing on there. The seat needs to come on, and a load bin needs to be done here. And yes, then I'm thinking of putting little covers in here, nice little superwood covers, so that's all protected from kids playing in the back. Now, what I've seen, and this was from a YouTube, to get all the cabling to the front, from the front to the back, is the guy's actually put a center piece in here. So I'm kind of toying with the idea of doing a square one like he had, but also I think a 110 or a 50 mil drain pipe that's covered in carpet might actually do quite a neat job, but that's something we'll figure out when we get to it. And yes, it does have aluminium trim, needs to come around the edges. So yes, I mean, guys, thanks for following this. It's had fantastic support, and it's really it's been so awesome building this. Lockdown. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna have enough time in this lockdown to finish this, but it's not something you want to rush, and I'm really pleased the ball is rolling, as we say. So yeah, fantastic evening to you guys, and thanks for watching.